Stop looking at the exterior styling for a second, and let's get real about where you actually spend your time, which is inside the cabin, because the interior of the Hyundai Accent Blue is a fascinating mix of budget-friendly practicality and surprising tech that tries to punch above its weight class. When you first slide into that driver's seat, you notice the design philosophy immediately tries to mimic the more expensive Elantra and Sonata models with that flowing Y-shaped center console that Hyundai loved so much in this era. And while it looks modern, the materials tell the real story of where the costs were cut. You're going to find a lot of hard plastics on the door cards and the lower dashboard, which is great for durability if you have kids kicking everything or if you're hauling gear, but can be a bit rattle-prone as the car ages, specifically around the instrument cluster hood and the center stack vents. However, the ergonomics are where this car really shines because everything falls to hand very naturally. The volume knobs, the climate control dials, and the gear selector are all placed exactly where you expect them to be, meaning you do not have to take your eyes off the road to adjust the fan speed or change the radio station. Speaking of the radio, the tech specs here are pretty standard for the time, but very functional, usually featuring a basic dot matrix display in the lower trims or a touchscreen in the higher ones. But the critical inclusion is the USB and auxiliary ports located conveniently at the bottom of the center stack, allowing you to bypass the outdated Bluetooth streaming lag if you want higher audio quality. The instrument cluster is another point of interest, often featuring that signature Hyundai Blue backlighting, which is easy on the eyes at night, but can be a bit piercing if you have the dimmer switch cranked all the way up. And right there in the middle, you get a trip computer that gives you your distance to empty and average fuel consumption, although I have found those numbers to be a bit optimistic compared to real-world math. Let's talk about space because for a subcompact car, the packaging is genuinely impressive. The wheelbase is stretched just enough to give rear passengers decent legroom. Although if you're over 6 feet tall, your head might be brushing against the headliner due to that sloping roofline that looks cool from the outside, but eats into interior volume. The seats themselves are usually cloth in the lower trims, which I actually prefer over the cheap synthetic leather found in some competitors because it breathes better in the summer, though the bolstering is a bit flat, meaning you will find yourself sliding around a bit if you decide to take a corner with any enthusiasm. Storage is another hidden win here, with a decently sized glove box that is actually usable, door pockets that can hold a standard water bottle without crushing it, and a center console bin that is small but deep enough to hide your wallet or phone away from prying eyes. One thing you have to respect is the visibility. Unlike many modern cars that have belt lines so high you feel like you're sitting in a bathtub, the Accent Blue keeps the window line relatively low, giving you a great view of the road and making parallel parking much less of a guessing game. It is a cabin that prioritizes function over form, but in a way that does not feel completely like a penalty box, managing to integrate just enough tech and comfort features to make the daily commute tolerable, provided you can look past the sea of hard gray plastic.